Sand Oasis introduced us to the world of the Arabian Nights within Sonic and the Secret Rings, and thanks to Project Reignition, it's never looked any better. So I'm here to explore and retell the story of Sand Oasis the way it deserves to be experienced, in this cinematic retelling bringing the tales of the Arabian Nights to life. Let's go. Sonic was woken from his sleep by an eerie voice, perhaps from his dreams. He reached out for his clock on the table, still loading his slow brain. He didn't know how long he was out, and to his surprise, he picked up a mysterious ring on his bedside table, one that was not there before. This was a ring that lit a blazing blue flame, and a voice echoed out, saying, "You are the blue hedgehog." To Sonic's sheer surprise, emerging from the blue flame was a young girl, small and composed, as if she had been waiting for Sonic. However, she had a lingering sense of worry and anguish within her eyes. She greets herself as Shara, the genie of the ring. To ease Sonic's nerves, she compares herself to the best, well, second best, Arabian Nights tale of Aladdin and the Magic Lamp. However, the reference flies over Sonic's head. But that's besides the point. Shara urgently hands over a book to Sonic with many pages, except they were blank. Then she had concerns about her world. The world of the Arabian Nights is vanishing. Every story, every character, every word was slowly being erased before Sonic's eyes, being consumed by an incredibly evil spirit, the Eraser Djinn. He had grown too powerful with his evil magic in order to break free from the walls confined within the pages of the book. He could not bear it any longer, so he has begun to set the inscriptions free by absorbing the power of the book itself. If Eraser Djinn manages to achieve his goal, Shara's world will cease to exist, and those stories will be silenced forever. But the Djinn's greed would not stop there. It would only be a matter of time until his power reaches Sonic's world and will unleash his evil influence. Shara came to Sonic's world to ask him to stop the Eraser Djinn. She says only the blue hedgehog is able to do it. Sonic lets out a small smirk he could not contain, since he thinks this may actually be fun, but his excitement is put to a close when he realizes all is contained within a storybook, and he cannot actually do anything. What he didn't yet know, he was now Shara's master. He had already called upon the Genie of the Ring, and now she must serve him. And the Genie of the Ring has immense powers. As such, she is able to grant his wishes on the condition they are simple and straightforward. Bringing Sonic into the world of the Arabian Nights is within her power, but Sonic could not control his shock, and in an instant, Shara disappeared at the sound of a soft pop and dissolved away into the smoke, leaving behind a single ring. She asked him to place the ring on his finger and was met with an immediate sharp pain which signified the sealing of a contract. As master of the ring, Shara is bound to him. Sonic's protection was now her obligation. Whenever Shara is needed, Sonic may rub his ring and she shall appear to aid, bearing a gift of a wish. He frivolously makes a wish of a handkerchief to help him with his sudden sneezing, taking Shara's magical powers and her cries for help with a little sense of levity, not treating it with the gravity it deserved. His light-hearted, almost endearing behaviour only revealed itself further when his ceiling began raining handkerchiefs. He looked up at them and with complete sincerity began explaining that he caught a cold yesterday, but Shara's patience was running thin. She snapped with more than anger, but with desperation in her voice. She demanded that this was not a moment for levity, that her warnings deserved weight.
Now this is first class! Here we go!
Sonic and Shara travel through the passages within the book in order to reach her world of the Arabian Nights. Sonic wastes no time in setting his sights on the Eraser Djinn, but before Shara can help Sonic find him, she panics and her voice has a sense of fear. The Eraser Djinn was here. Sonic was attacked before he could even react, but his quick instinct saved his life. He frivolously dismisses the fact he was less than a second away from death and jokes about his quills, but Shara's screams were louder. Eraser Djinn looks down upon Sonic as the blue rat that just got added to the story, and for the first time, Sonic's face actually showed the conviction and seriousness he was feeling. He did not like being called a rat, since he is a hedgehog. Eraser Jin proclaims with a sinister power in his eyes that he is the one who shall carve up the world as he sees fit, as he stands over Sonic with an air of pernicious aura that Sonic pays no attention to. He asks a simple request that Eraser Jin may wait to invoke his destruction until after Sonic has read the book. Shara lets out a disappointing groan of Sonic's lack of earnestness. Eraser Jin ignores Sonic's childish demeanour and tries to intimidate the Blue Rat and the Genie. He says that 100 of the 1001 Nights have already been wiped clean, and soon the rest shall join them, night by night, and then Sonic cuts him off mid-sentence with confusion when the 7 world rings are mentioned. Sonic's lack of such knowledge had made the Jin's gaze change completely, and he questions whether or not his dear Shara had obtained the 7 rings for him yet. Shara insists they do not exist, and even if they did, she would never hand them over. Such disobedience is deserving of a suitable punishment. Sonic took a hit for Shara, and Eraser Jin let out an amusing chuckle. Sonic's chest had ignited a bright and burning yet somber flame, a curse stemming from the Jin's evil magic, a curse that put a timer on Sonic's life. The flame was a contract. Sonic must collect the 7 world rings and bring them forth to the Jin before the arrow of flame extinguishes. If he does not, his life will be forfeit, never existed, much like the stories within the book. Eraser Jin now takes his maniacal exit, muttering that he is now after the life of King Shahryar, which had only made Shara more fearful, since King Shahryar is the creator of the Arabian Nights and main character of its story. If he is killed, the world of the Arabian Nights story of the 1001 Nights will never have existed. Sonic needed to find King Shahryar, the King of Kings, as quickly as possible. He was somewhere on the other side of the Sand Oasis within the 1001 Nights tale. The land had already been tainted with the Jin's evil. He had unleashed his minions to terrorize the story. The Margins were once a diverse humanoid race that was sealed away long ago by King Solomon, filled with anger and now mad with a thirst for revenge. The rest, the Jin had simply created from the words he carved out of the Arabian Nights tale. They served him blindly in search of the 7 world rings, and now every one of them stood between Sonic and the palace. Sonic had ran all the way to the King's Temple and found it completely empty, wondering if he wasn't fast enough to find the king. However, he arrived just in the nick of time. Someone was there waiting. Sonic had found Dr. Eggman and instantly knew that Eraser Jin's wrath was just another one of Dr. Eggman's schemes. However, Sonic is not convinced by Eggman's claims that he is king of this land. He is King Shahryar, until Shara had stepped forward and insisted that this is the real king. Such insolence enrages the king and orders the guards to seize this blue spiky thing, an order which is met with absolute silence. He then remembers what happened and explains when the evil spirits recently appeared out of nowhere. Everyone turned and ran, abandoning the castle and leaving the king alone. In a panic, he hid himself within a jar, which he got stuck inside until now. Suddenly, his explanation was cut off abruptly as he is kidnapped by a pterodactyl, ridden by the Eraser Djinn. In order to save the king, Sonic would have to travel to the world of the dinosaur jungle story to find the pterodactyl and save the king. However, along Sonic's journey out of the kingdom, he found Tails cornered with moments left until his existence is erased. Tails was so grateful that he was saved, but feels confused by Sonic's familiarity. As he doesn't know this blue hedgehog, he introduces himself as Alibaba. Sonic had not yet caught on. These were not the people he knew, and Shara had to apologize on Sonic's behalf for mistaking him for someone else. Sonic did not say another word to Alibaba after this moment. Perhaps he felt embarrassed. Alibaba may not be the strongest, but he does know a few tricks and offers his support whenever Sonic and Shara may need him. However, they're in a rush to the dinosaur jungle and could not stay much longer. Hastily, Shara thanks him and ensures that he will be called upon when needed, and they continue their journey. A journey that was cut off once again. The Eraser Djinn's power was not trivial. He truly did intend to wipe out every page from this story and retrieve all 7 world rings with his full army, and to do this, he had created the Sand Scorpions, and Sonic had encountered the strongest and largest one. So massive that even Sonic was trembling and instinctively relied on Shara's magic to deal with it. She too was not strong enough. Her magic is no match for that of the Eraser Djinn's, and expressed her deepest apologies for not being able to serve her master. Sonic recognizes Shara's sadness. Her deep guilt could not be contained from her face, so Sonic promises to defeat it the old-fashioned way and reassures her sadness. She looked so glum that Sonic is committed to have her smiling by the end of this. Words which were not ordered as a master, but as a promise from one to another.
Right. Let's do it!
A promise.
Seems pretty tough. Alright, let's do this!
Watch out for its tail attack! Look, it's working!
That's it! The eye is its weak point! This guy just doesn't give up! Looks like he can't take much more of this!
Just one more hit!
Sorry, but you were in my way.
Sonic and Shara spot one of the 7 world rings dropped by the Sand Scorpion. Shara can't pick it up, however, its immense power rushes Sonic's body with a shock. It is said that when darkness descends on the Arabian Nights, the legendary blue hedgehog from another world shall come. Sonic humbly blushes and jokes about the title that's given to him. When the 7 rings that control the worlds are gathered, the portal between the worlds shall open, but the life of the collector of the rings shall be offered up in its sacrifice, as key of that control. That is what is written in the newest chapter of the Arabian Nights, and Sonic hates this idea. Shara believes these world rings hold the key to some kind of mystery, and must collect them to get to the bottom of the mystery. Sonic's in a pinch either way, since the curse of the arrow's flame is still burning inside of him, not for much longer. Shara feels regretful that this curse was placed upon Sonic because of her. A Sonic that seems unbothered and instead jolly. Time may fly, but he can run faster. The world of 1001 Night's Tale and the Sand Oasis had been saved for now. However, King Shahryar is still missing and taken to the world of the dinosaur jungle. Only Sonic and Shara can save him now.